We got like an hour. Or- Hey, what is going on, newcomers? Anyone who's watching this at the moment, welcome to this new podcast. I am Alec Miller. You can find me on Twitter at AlecMiller0423. And I'm joined with my boy Paul. What's up, Trinidad?
What's up, my brothers? Pleasure to join you on this show. Me and you go way back since high school, and in more ways than one. And I'm thrilled that we're gonna be talking, Rockets and kind of whatever else we feel like, man. It's gonna be our show, and looking forward to it.
Absolutely. For those, so the show's called the Red Glare Podcast. This kind of just a place where me and you are gonna kind of just shoot the shit, talk about things that we want to talk about in terms of mostly Rockets, but when things come up, we'll always be ready to talk about them. All types of sports. I watch football, basketball, baseball, MMA. You watch baseball. So it'll be a kind of a wide array, but it'll probably center especially when we get in the thick of things. Probably center more around the Rockets, but we have everybody.
Yeah, man. I just want to say, one thing I wanted to point out too is, just kind of my experience coming into this, right? Who the hell is this guy to just be talking Rockets? So, dude, I'm a lifelong Rockets fan. You know what I'm saying? Always rooted for the team ever since I was little. Got to go to, Rockets games as a kid. But more specifically, I got to actually work there. So I got to see both sides of this thing. And, it was a great experience. So I'm hoping I could kind of bring that experience to our audience too, and kind of talk about both sides of what I've seen as well.
Absolutely. And we're not professionals. We're not here to say we know more than anybody. We're just two guys that love sports, that love the Rockets, and just talk about whatever we see. And I'm excited to do this. Do you want to kind of introduce ourselves and how we came about this?
Yeah, for sure, man. We started off, Alec and I go way back, and we've always been passionate about our Houston sports, right? Texans, Rockets, Astros, we used to play beer pong. We used to, just kind of argue about Houston sports in a fun way. And, what naturally came about is, we're just sending messages over Instagram. We're always talking Rockets and Alec runs some podcasts himself and I run a podcast myself. He also has Alec Reviews, Arm Bars and Suplexes. And then me, I got the OP Club, entrepreneurship podcast. And naturally Rockets is just something we've always been passionate about. And, that's kind of, it was a natural fit, right? We just decided to merge those ideas. And like he said, we just kind of wanted to be able to talk about the topic, expand on it, have our own show. And that's, kind of the natural idea of the Red Glare podcast.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This basically came about because we were talking, it was the day after the Harden trade,
Right.
It was here and definitely in the H. And we were just going back and forth, joking around. We're like, man, we should come up with a podcast. And I was like, hold on. Why not? And
exactly.
we did it. And shout out to my brother Corey in the chat. What's up, man? Thank you for joining us, brother. I appreciate it.
Appreciate that, Corey.
But yeah, man, there's so much to talk about. And this is like kind of a slow week in the Rockets stuff. But really a jam-packed week of sports. You have the first viewing of the Big Three in Brooklyn with Harden and KD. You have we finally got the Super Bowl matchup. We got Mahomes, the current best player in the NFL, going up against the greatest of all time in Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Also, Tom Brady, this is the first team to ever host a Super Bowl and play in it.
Yes.
So,
yes.
big time. He's still breaking records, man. He's still breaking records.
Yeah, man. You said it. I mean, I guess we could start. We'll start NBA and Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's definitely the hot topic, right? For me, I saw, I see all their national televised games, but also all the media's, just running through Brooklyn right now. So I wanted to see just kind of your general thoughts about what you thought about Harden wanting to leave this year. And then kind of maybe segue into how you think he fits on Brooklyn.
Whoosh, you're going right into it. I like it. I was okay with him wanting to be out.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't like is the saltiness and kind of the attitude that he came in and was like, I want out. This place isn't giving, like, I can't do anything here. When in reality, like, Daryl Morey always gave Harden what he wanted. He asked for Dwight Howard. Yeah. He got him, didn't do it. Said he wanted Dwight Howard out, got Dwight Howard out. Asked for Chris, or I don't even know if he asked for Chris Paul, but he got probably our best season with Chris Paul. They had a falling out. Chris Paul was the one to go. Asked for Westbrook, same thing. And I think this was the first year no Morey didn't get asked what he wanted, and they just kind of went and they moved. They got Boogie, they got John Wall, and maybe he just I guess didn't feel like that he couldn't win with them, which is like Boogie and Wall, like those are high quality talents. They might be coming off of injuries, but they're still high quality talents. And he was still, kind of moping about it. And I kind of agree with Boogie that when you come in with disrespect like that, it's just you're not going to get anything done like that. And I was perfectly cool with seeing him go. Love what we got for him. 4 first-round picks. Red was able to flip LeVert for Oladipo. It looks like LeVert's going to be out for a little bit, so that kind of worked for us. And I'm kind of excited about what this future of the Rockets could be. It's been a while since we've had a future to look forward to. Really, we've always been in win now,
right?
Territory. And this seems like it might be kind of a little reset, which might be a little bit refreshing.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit unique because you have some veterans on the squad. You got Boogie, you got John Wall, and Oladipo, which is a pretty nice squad. But now you also know like they're preparing for the future with these picks, all the bench, these young guys. So it's a pretty interesting dynamic, one that I don't really see too much of in the NBA, and it makes it enjoyable. And going back to Harden for me, I mean, I was also okay that he wanted to leave, and I respected how he felt. What worries me about Harden is what you mentioned about getting his friends traded and the players he asked for traded. Because it makes me wonder as a person what he's doing to keep burning these bridges. And, I think a part of it, too, for Houston sports fans is we've always wanted to see him take us to that next level. We've always believed that he would be the one to take us. And, we got close with CP, and that was it. I mean, it was close, but that was it. And I see why Harden wanted to move on, and I see why also Houston fans kind of had some resentment because they've always seen that we provided him quality teams. Mm-hmm. And even shout out to Raphael Stone, the new GM, because he once again gave him a good team. I mean, Wall, Boogie, Christian Wood. I mean, this is a solid rotation. It, to be honest, is one of the deeper Rockets, second units and surrounding players that we've had in a while. But, I guess in Harden's eyes, you see the chance to play with Brooklyn, chance to play with KD, and that's all he needed. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man, I wish him the best going forward. And then, turning towards what is now the mess in Brooklyn, what do you kind of think? I mean, it's completely fun to watch, but what exactly do you see as the ceiling for them?
Yeah. Before we get to that, I want to say shout out to Raphael Stone, man. They mentioned about that Brooklyn wanted PJ in the trade, and he was like, "You got to add one more pick, man." I think that about a GM who's willing to like see the value in his players, and even if you are talking to someone who wants a team that you're already giving their best player, they think they can get one more, and you're like, you gotta have to sweeten the pot a little bit, even though we're kind of robbing them already. But yeah, about the mess in Brooklyn. It's always the fear and kind of the problem with trading for a player of the caliber of James Harden because of how much you have to give up for him. And from having a solid young team with LeVert, Jared Allen, he's still there, Dinwiddie, but he's going to be out for the year. Like that hurts when you have to give up all that talent. I know, and those are just two players that I named, and I believe there was also Exum and a few other players. But that's a big haul to give away, and you're sacrificing depth and potential for a win now attitude. And this is one of those trades that you don't know who wins it until later down the line. Like, we can't say, I mean, in the short term, Brooklyn's won, but there is a big possibility, especially if they don't win a championship with Harden, that they're on the losing end of this trade, and the Rockets will be on the end of this trade. There's always going to be a loser and a winner. It's kind of crazy to look at, but a lot of times these trades, they turn out to be winners for the team who gave up the star caliber player, the all-star, perennial all-star, and end up with much more to invest in their future.
Yeah, and the good thing about the Rockets, to put a positive spin on it, is, Harden is already like 32, or, it's not like we're giving up 28-year-old James Harden, right? This is kind of Harden probably with 3 to 4 years left of the end of his prime. So, and some degree too, you kind of want to accept it. You wish you saw the end of his prime, but hey, at least you're kind of re-putting that energy back in the organization, getting those picks ready. Also, that's a good point what you brought up about PJ Tucker, because so far, I mean, the Nets offensively, it's been pretty good. I mean, they have some of the best scores, but the defense has been the huge question mark, right? And they literally don't, like, who is the Nets' best defender? Like, maybe it's KD just because of
probably KD,
right? So, I mean, if you had PJ Tucker, I mean, that would definitely shift the dynamic a bit. So I think, and I did see some Brooklyn trade rumors today. They're talking about JaVale McGee, K Love. They definitely need another piece to throw in there, because, in the NBA, almost most teams have prolific scorers, right? So you kind of need some guys to get you some blocks, to get some turnovers, to force bad shots. Because right now with Kyrie and Harden, I mean, other opposing teams are getting what they want, and that's just the reality. So, I'm rooting for Brooklyn. Ultimately, I still think the Lakers are a way better overall team than Brooklyn, and I wish it was more competitive. But dude, talk about a super team. I mean, LeBron and AD are kind of already got that on lock. I mean, what do you think?
It's crazy the fact that they're seen as a super team, and normally a super team is seen with like 3 perennial all-stars. This is AD and the right pieces sprinkled around them.
Exactly.
And, dude, when LeBron is hitting threes and where he's throwing up threes and just staring down at the other players, knowing it's going to go in, or turning to his bench, when he's got that kind of confidence, you got to look out for this dude. Like, you don't want LeBron with the highest, with peak confidence. You want LeBron feeling good, not feeling great. Like, LeBron feels great. You have to be like, oh, LeBron had a good day. It's just, you're not going to do much with that. And then AD, I mean, he kind of, I still have my qualms with AD. I don't. He's a fourth quarter player. At least he hasn't shown to be on a consistent basis. He has shown up in games, yes, but I really want to see him really take over in fourth quarter. LeBron's got 2 more years, maybe.
Yeah.
AD signed for is going to be signing. Oh, he just signed for a max, so he's the future of the Lakers. You got to start showing a little bit more. I know we can enjoy this. AD and LeBron winning however many championships they win, but in reality, LeBron's got, I would say, 2 years, maybe 3, but on the shortened schedule, sure, but I don't know, man. AD gonna have to start stepping up, or they're gonna have to start looking to bring in a player for you to back you up. It's just that kind of thing. We got to keep looking to the future, and I don't know if AD's that. I know AD's great, but can he team to the land?
Yeah, when we were back in the bubble and it was Lakers versus Rockets and Rockets had won game 1 and I was super pumped. I was like, hell yeah, we're gonna give it to the Lakers. But before that series, I had some of my homies asking me like who did I think was gonna win, and I was like, dude, I thought the Lakers would win because of AD, and it was more because of Bron.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean about AD because a lot of times in that series, like I would see AD like standing like ready for a corner 3, and it's like, dude, you got the defensive skill. You're playing against small ball. You should be getting boards. You should be getting blocks. You should be getting dunks, and
layups.
Right. So he needs to impose his will a lot more. He's super talented. He has all the skills, right? He could drive, he could dribble. He definitely needs to show up a bit more. But if they do get to a series against somebody like Brooklyn, I guess he will be tested, and then we'll see how strong AD is as far as being a superstar or being a top 5 player. And yeah, I just can't wait. I mean, like Brooklyn, LA just has to be my finals pick at this point, assuming Brooklyn gets it together. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I still would say the Lakers are probably the best team in the NBA.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think they're crazy OP. The GM over there in LA, man, he went from being the laughing stock of the NBA.
Yep.
To one of the top guys. He's basically put everything that LeBron needs around him. I think LeBron, unlike normally, I think LeBron's taken a little bit more of a back seat in terms of GMing. Maybe not. He's not 100% allowing them to do their they still go to him. But I think whereas in Cleveland it was kind of all him. Really, yeah. I don't think it's as much all him. I think he's letting the brass there in LA kind of work their magic because they haven't let him down yet. Real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen real quick, and let's go ahead and take at the standings for the NBA at the moment.
Sweet.
We have the East. This is the Eastern Conference right now, right here. So let me see.
I'm loving the East this year.
Yeah, the East is great, man. Especially the Sixers are kind of a nice surprise. Like, imagine if they would have went with going and getting Harden. Like, how do you think they would? But they're perfectly fine. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I think that's a good topic, and actually one I'm glad you brought up. Like, I mean, potentially the biggest losers could be out of the Harden trade could be the Sixers. I mean, Ben Simmons, it hasn't been his best year, right?
Yeah.
And look, it looks like we got somebody just commented. Aaron Brooks, Sixers lose to the Pistons tonight. So yeah, like right on cue. You have to think, would having a shot maker like Harden would that have excelled them to championship contender status? Are they going to keep Ben Simmons after this year if he keeps struggling? Right, those are big questions. But so far, despite him not playing his best, they're in first place. You gotta like their chances to at least advance past the first or second round. When you see the Knicks are in 8th and the Hawks and the Cavs, I mean,
it's crazy, right?
Yeah, man. So yeah, Sixers can make a run.
Yeah, that's why I love the East, honestly, because even though everyone makes fun of it because of it is the East, but it makes it so that top 8 is always kind of different every year, and it makes it interesting. And every now and then you do get those series where in Orlando will pull out, will kind of take Milwaukee to the very end or something like that.
Right.
Every year, so yeah, you have the Sixers right there. Not sure if the success will last, like you said, but I also don't think they're done trying to move stuff. I think they will probably make a big trade by the trade deadline, especially if they want to get Ben Simmons out. You never know who wants him. I know I don't. I hate the fact that you're an NBA player and you can't shoot. And not even
I'm so glad Rockets didn't trade for Ben Simmons, dude.
and like, it's not even that he can't shoot, because he can't, but he doesn't even attempt. Like,
Right.
you can literally leave him wide open anywhere outside of the paint, and he will not take a shot. Like, that can really hurt a team, and especially in the playoffs, where and Giannis deals with this too, where they take away your biggest strength. That's what they do. That's what they do in Milwaukee with Giannis. They take away and make him have to shoot. Whereas Giannis is getting a little better at shooting. You haven't seen that progression from Ben Simmons yet. You have the Celtics holding firm at third without Jason Tatum, and Jason Tatum is supposed to be back today. Thank God, my fantasy basketball team, because that's who I took with my second round pick. Guys, I had to get Curry with my first round, but yeah, man, crazy that they're still holding on. The Pacers too, kind of flourishing without Oladipo. The Nets make a comeback. They kind of started off rocky, but they're making a comeback. Colin Sexton. This man went on a rampage. The big three in Brooklyn had a great night against the Cavaliers last Thursday and still pulled out the win. Colin Sexton was still out the win. Like, that's insane to me.
And he was wearing Kyrie shoes.
Ooh, disrespectful in the name of in honor of my man RB3. Disrespectful. Aaron one. We'll get that reference for sure. And then the Hawks and the Knicks, man, it's just always nice to see. I'm a big Trae Young fan, so I'm always for him. I really enjoy Trae Young a lot, just like I enjoyed Jamal Murray in Denver. That's kind of the same love. Exciting to watch play. I don't know why.
Well, so one team I want to bring up in the East is the Heat, right? The Heat made it to the final last year, and they're struggling this year. But I mean, I would still think they're going to make the playoffs, and I think that should be their objective. Just make it.
Absolutely, that was their objective last year. Just make it in there.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And then when they went up against these better teams who were arguably more talented, the talent and the impact that Eric Spoelstra shines in the playoffs. So all Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero have to do is get them there. They are dealing with a lot of injuries. I know Tyler Hero's been out for a few games. Same with Jimmy Butler. So I think it was Saturday, because I was during the prelim fights. I was also watching a little bit of the Rockets not the Rockets, the Heat and Nets game.
Okay.
And it was just Bam and the rest of the Heat, and they were taking it to the Nets. It was a close game, and the Nets had all three, Harden, Kyrie, and KD. And to me, that's where the biggest trepidation for the Nets for me is. I know it's still early; they have all season to kind of learn each other's style, but that's definitely not like the high. That doesn't give me the most confidence when a bio-led team is taking these Nets to the very end. But I mean, it's still early. These standings are going to change so many times before the end of the season. I love looking at the standings in the NBA.
Definitely. Should we switch to the West?
Yes,
Let's see what's going on in our territory.
Yeah, not bad for us there. 11. It's okay.
Yeah.
For the circus that it's been here in Houston, that's not bad.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, Harden probably lost us at least 4 games, just not even trying. So
that was my biggest thing about it, man. If you show up to work, man. Come on.
Yeah, dude. I don't want to be at my job either, but come on, I at least act professional.
Exactly, man. Like I still gotta turn that damn wrench. I don't like it, but I still do it. But at the top, and I hadn't looked at the standings recently to see the Clippers there, because before I was checking every day, and it was always Lakers, always.
Yeah, man.
And now the Clippers
7 games.
Yeah, they're both tied. They're about 13-4. Let's see. The only reason I think they're up is because in the conference, the Clippers have a 11-4 record, whereas the Lakers have a 10-4 record. So they have one more, but they also have one more game played.
Okay.
So that's probably what it is. And then right below that, Donovan Mitchell, man. on the Jazz, and you know he's playing with he's playing angry after the comments that Shaq made.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Kind of. Did you like his response, Donovan's response to Shaq?
I 100% like it, and honestly, I liked his response, and I like what KD and LeBron also said.
I think I missed that.
I think LeBron said something along the lines of, "There's constructive criticism, and there's soft hating," and Shaq was soft hating, and
yeah.
KD was saying something about the older generation kind of like holding on to their glory and trying to take it away from other guys. And dude, I don't know how this isn't like Donovan Mitchell's 30-something years old at the back end of his career and just hasn't had any success. This is a kid who's in his early 20s, has already taken a team to the to not the conference finals, but the
semifinals, right?
Semifinals, yeah, and like has a really decent team around him. If I think I tweeted it out to Big Sarge, shout out to Big Sarge here in Houston. If I'm Donovan Mitchell, if I'm TNT, I'm begging at the door of Donovan Mitchell to please not ever not listen to him. So please don't listen to Shaq, because if I'm Donovan, I'm never going on TNT ever again to do an interview. Until I get some kind of apology. That's blatant disrespect.
Well, and when these sometimes, especially with Donovan, man, after his playoff performance against Jamal, it sucks that he lost, but dude, he gave everything, man. Every possession, him and Jamal were going back and forth. These guys were playing out of their mind, man. And sometimes when I think of the young NBA, those are the two that I think about. I also Luka and Trey, but primarily that group. And those guys, to me, bro, they're the future of the NBA. They're the reason why I love the new NBA too, because these young guys are coming out and they're getting so good so quick, and their work ethic is the same as the legends were. So I completely support Donovan in the way he responded to Shaq. I don't know what angle Shaq was trying to play. I think we've all seen that Shaq is kind of sensitive to things for whatever reason. As huge and as rich and as successful as he's been, he still just has some sort of nature. But yeah, these guys definitely need to uplift the younger generation. If you want to be respected by them, you have to give respect back, right? You can't just demand young players respect you and not show the same character back to them.
Exactly.
So yeah, man. I know we're going through the standings, but huge shout out to the Jazz, man. They're a Rockets old rival back in the day, but there's a lot of things to like about this new squad. They play hard every night, and wish them the best.
Absolutely, man. And like I was talking to my brother-in-law about this. To say that just because he's on the Jazz, I think it's because it's a Jazz thing. Just like it's a Nets thing to not cheer for the Nets, to think they can't make it, or before the Chiefs got Mahomes, the Chiefs will never go to the playoffs because people don't see the players, see the team.
Right.
But to say that the Jazz, that he can't see Donovan taking the Jazz to a championship is crazy, because when you look at the players that are kind of taking over the NBA, LeBron is going to be out in a few years, and then a few years after that, KD is going to be gone. A few years after that, it constantly is changing.
Harden and Steph after that.
Yeah, right. And these young guys like a Donovan Mitchell, like a Jamal Murray, like a Luka and all that, they're eventually going to be the big names in the NBA, and eventually we'll be seeing a Donovan versus Jason Tatum finals or something like that. We're going to be seeing those big names, those players that aren't as big now. They're eventually going to be the main guys in the NBA. And Shaq's got to do that. And also, this wasn't Shaq's first thing this week. He also basically got called a casual by Christian Wood because he didn't know who Christian Wood was. And I think it's honestly because, just like Christian Wood said, Shaq's a casual. The only games he watches is on NBA TNT. It's NBA on TNT. The ones that
the one he has to work for.
Yeah, say what we want about Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley has some of the dumbest takes ever, but at least I think he watches the sport.
For sure. And I think when it comes to like the younger generation, I think I've seen him be a lot more truthful and respectable to those
Mm-hmm.
guys.
Well, he went
Maybe
on Dame last year in the playoffs.
yeah.
Like, that's just how he respects the younger talent more.
He picks the underdog a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
I think even when he knows he's going to be wrong, I think he picks some to prove a point to
Yeah.
kind of emphasize, hey, you need to look at Dame in this series. You need to look at CJ McCollum.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, since we're on that, Trailblazers, right? Like, they're kind of one of those teams. Here we go again. Like, top four, but are they going to break through? And we've talked about this with Dame and pledging his loyalty to the Blazers. One thing I like about the Blazers in general is, I was thinking about, when Dame and kind of Westbrook's rivalry, and
Yeah.
before that, Dame hit that shot in our heart, right? And I was
Oh,
just kind of thinking about that. I was like, man, you know what? Throughout these years, he's seen different versions of the Rockets, and I'm sure he's hated them. And then he shows up, and all of a sudden, there's all these Rockets that don't have any of that hate behind it, right?
mm-hmm.
But that's what I think I like about Dame and the Blazers is the consistency. So no matter what's happening, the consistency is there for them. They're showing up for games. They got great coaching, they got great shooters, they got a great roster. And to them, it doesn't matter who they're playing. They kind of have the same hard nosed mentality every time. And I think that's consistently why they are in the top four in the West, because that consistency has brought them, to a certain level. They
Mm-hmm.
may still be a little bit less talented than most championship contenders, but they're right there as far as the work ethic. And I totally get what they're trying to achieve there.
Absolutely. Right into that, you got the Nuggets. Like I mentioned earlier, Jamal Murray and another one of my favorite players, Jokic, the Joker. He's probably going to be the behind Embiid, probably the most dominant center in this league. Maybe we'll eventually see a Joker versus Embiid finals. Who knows?
Oof, that'd be nice.
You got the Grizzlies, man. I feel like I'm saying this a lot, but I love Ja Morant. Like, to me, I would have taken Ja Morant with the number one pick. Zion, I get he's a freak of nature, but dude, Ja is he's built differently, man. He can shoot. He's so athletic going to the basket, and he doesn't have to carry 300 pounds of weight on him every day and have to try and keep it off. Like, that's why I was all on Ja. So glad to see the Grizzlies there.
Yeah, I'm, and for sure, just continuing. You got Suns and Spurs. I definitely want to talk about a couple teams after that, but Suns. That's clearly the influence of CP3. Not to mention that the Suns were on fire at the end of the bubble. So they still got some ways to go, but they're on a plan now, right? Compared to the Suns in the past years, where it's like, what are they doing? 5-point guards on the roster, like not really sure the direction. They got a squad now, man. And if you're talking Suns and Spurs and who's going to make it out, I might pick the Suns to make it in and the Spurs out. But of course, the Spurs are at the 8th seed. They're still that thorn in the West side, no matter what. Still hanging in there. What do you make of the Rockets' chances, and which of these teams, maybe your top two teams, who you think if the Rockets made the playoffs, they would knock out one of these three teams?
Okay, so I could see us maybe sneaking in at 8. The Spurs are one of those teams that just is right at this moment. I don't feel like they have enough talent to be able to sustain like making it to the playoffs. I think they'll be on the bubble. It'll be. I'm looking at it right now. It'll probably be between the Spurs, the Grizzlies, and us. I think the Mavs are going to jump way up. Are going to jump, probably make like the fifth or fourth seed. I can see the Blazers maybe falling, but I think it'll probably be like the Grizzlies, Spurs, and Rockets, and possibly sneaking in. It'll all come down to kind of how Oladipo, Wall, and Boogie, they all three got to get on the court eventually. Like, we got to see them all three on the court, and that's kind of the toughest thing about having three players that are coming off of major leg injuries. They're kind of all taking it easy, which I understand. Like, that's got to be this. I've never had a serious leg injury. I can't even imagine how scary that has to be. Like, going up for a dunk and then coming back down. Like, that's got to be terrible. But I can see us sneaking into the 8th seed, maybe the 7th seed. But I'm looking at their top two. I don't think it's going to change. Probably Lakers and Clippers. And
Yeah,
I would take my chances more. I would like to take my chances more against the Clippers, just because new coach, new system.
for sure.
I don't trust Paul George in the playoffs. But we've seen Kawhi put a team on his back and carry it, man. Like it's no one was talking about that Raptors team until Kawhi did what he did there, even though they were already kind of talented.
Right.
This is a pretty talented team here. Ibaka's a big time get.
Yeah, he's been a big upgrade for sure.
So I would like to see us go against the Clippers. If that means we get the 8th seed, cool. But I don't want the Lakers in the first round. They went how many games? I think each series last year, they allowed one win, and then basically beat out. There was a gentleman's sweep each time.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean, I would agree. Rockets 7-8. I'm still kind of waiting to see like what happens with the Warriors, because they, Steph has had some unbelievable nights, but as far as their depth, it's definitely not there. I kind of want to see what happens with them. What I would ideally like to see is maybe Warriors at 7 and Rockets at 8, kind of Lakers, Warriors, and Clippers, Rockets. That would be that would be preferable for me. And I think one thing like you mentioned is just getting the Rockets having to play together, man. Oladipo, Wood, Boogie, John Wall, PJ, like we haven't seen solid minutes with our best players, right? And it might take 20 or so games. I mean, like we talked about, you had Harden, showing up late. I mean, he made our first game be delayed, right? Because of who knows what, wherever he was. Then didn't really try for some. That's at least 4 losses we accumulated there. We've definitely had injuries play a part in some of the other losses. So we're looking sloppy, but I'm kind of hoping maybe 10 games from now we've kind of bounced back and have a winning record instead of this 400 that we're looking at. Also, one thing I want to throw in there is we got Porter Jr. from the Cavs because apparently he threw food at the GM and there's a big mishap there. But I just want to say, like, in general, I kind of like the move because there's a lot of uncertain things about the Rockets right now. So, it's kind of one of those things, well, hey, why don't we go ahead and get this young, talented guy? It might take a couple seasons to develop him, but if it works out, we keep him, and if not, we can move on, right? There's plenty of room for experiments right now with the Rockets. So I just want to say I like that trade a little bit. I don't have very high expectations of him, but I like the fact that we're getting a young guy who could play some major minutes.
Yeah, this is the kind of poster child of what a low risk, high reward trade is. This is you're only given a second round pick. I find out it's protected. I've never heard of a protected second round pick. That's kind of wild. For a first round talent, taken 30th, I believe, in the draft, and it all comes down to off the court issues.
Yeah,
it's up to Steven Silas and Raphael Stone, and my friend also said John Lucas. John Lucas has to get and really show him, like, dude, you have so much talent. You are a specimen. Like you look fantastic. You should not be like throwing away your better half of your career because you are still acting like a high school kid.
For sure.
These guys are kids, man. Like they're
definitely
19-year-old, 20 years old coming into the league. They have to grow up. It's not like the NFL, where the NFL you got to go play 3 years. Like you get 1 year in college and you can go straight to, or you have 1 year in overseas and you can come straight to the NBA. The reason why some of these like first round picks, they don't necessarily pan out because they don't have the right people around them. And if John Lucas and Steven Silas and Rafael Stone can get the right people around this kid, I think we can be looking at something really, really good, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing that play out. And just seeing everybody, I can't wait for the day that I see on Bleacher Report Wall, Oladipo, Boogie, Wood are all cleared for today, and we're going to see them in the first. It's going to be amazing. That's going to be one of those days where I'm going to sit down and watch all 60 minutes of that game.
Yeah, and have a beer and celebrate a little bit too.
48 minutes, yeah, 48 minutes. I'm thinking of football. Sorry.
No, I mean you're absolutely right. There's a lot to be desired from this Rockets team. And one thing I do want to see too is back to Coach Silas, right? We're still new in his system. We're still ways away from seeing his influence on the floor too.
Yeah.
So that's another big piece that I forget about personally, but I'm looking forward to is, after this season, he's going to be more confident coach. And then, year 3, year 4, he's really going to be aspiring. So, I think this next 10 games is going to show us a lot. It's going to show us a lot of like the character of both Coach Silas and the younger roster. And yeah, I'm hoping around 25 games in, we start to see that roster of everyone available coming ready to play. Yeah, man, other than that, not since we're talking on some sore spots, I wanted to ask you about the Texans, man. Kind of just falling apart. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, bad ownership is kind of what we're dealing with. Is kind of what we're not seeing it as much with the Rockets. I don't necessarily like Fertitta, but at the same time, we haven't seen it as blatant as we are with the Texans. But man, we have the best player that we've had. I would be willing to place money on the idea that Deshaun Watson will be the best player the Texans have ever drafted. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. You name the big players we've drafted: Andre, Mario Williams, J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, and I would be willing to place money on the fact that Deshaun might be the better of them. He has the potential to be better than all of them.
Yeah,
and you just kind of let this go. Like, first of all, don't get me started on that DeAndre Hopkins trade, bro. Like, I legit quit the team, and I ended up coming back because I love football so much. I basically was like, this is ridiculous. If I was Rockets ownership and Bill O'Brien came to me saying, I want to trade DeAndre Hopkins, I would still be listening, for David Johnson and a second-round pick, I would have said, pack your stuff, get out of my office. Yeah, you're gone. Like, get out. Like, that's ridiculous that you thought that that's okay. It took us losing 4 games in a row to finally fire Bill O'Brien. And you still can't, and you're still not willing to, like, you can't even, like, include Deshaun. You're not saying, like, hey, what's your input on, like, why don't you sit in for these meetings? They literally hired a consulting agency to help them, like, find a new GM, and they completely ignored him and hired the guy they wanted anyways. Like, it's just, I don't get it. They want to be the Patriots so badly, but look at the Patriots right now. Like, without Tom Brady, they are a middling team. Like, we're not trying to be middling for so long. Let's aspire to be more. And just
their obsessiveness with the Patriots definitely has not paid off in any way. Whether DeAndre Hopkins trade was an ego check or I have no idea. But at the end of the day, it was wrong. It was not the right thing to do. This Jackie Easterbay fellow, I mean, he started as the chaplain of the team, right? And now he's making personnel decisions.
And to hear that he said when he first came in, like, that he was, like, basically spouting off, like, negative black stereotypes to the players, like, nobody, like, it shows the leadership that we have in this company, that they're willing to stand behind Jack Easterby, who's never done a thing for this team, and stand behind their future all-star, future Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, that fits the definition of a con man to me. You can't be the guy preaching to save souls and then trying to trade away the franchise quarterback. I don't exactly know what his motive is in all this. I don't know if he's trying to destroy. Is he trying to pay back the McNairs? Who knows? I mean, something is wrong at this point. Everyone knows it. If they don't hire Eric Bieniemy from KC, if that guy doesn't get the job, man, I mean, I think there's going to be some clear indications that there's trouble in Houston, and it's I hate to say it, but if they can't get that hire done and Deshaun leaves, I mean, I think you're looking at a poverty franchise for the next 10 years. I mean, I don't know what else to say, man. JJ Watt, he's been a shining star, as far as leadership. And, even that guy's kind of losing his motivation to be here anymore. And I think that just says a lot about the culture, man. Even if JJ and Deshaun and the rest of the guys wanted to be on the same page, well, guess what? Ownership's not on the same page. You have no idea who your coach is. It's a mess, man. And, they're definitely not making many people in the city of Houston proud, if any.
Yeah, man. And the thing is, like, this is one of those teams here in Houston. Like, you look at the Astros. The Astros, even now, are having trouble. We're having trouble selling out.
Right.
Rockets games, yeah, they sell out, but it's not as fervent. It's always been the Texans.
Exactly.
We've had way more bad years than we've had good years, I would say. And that place is always sold out. Season tickets are sold out. And unfortunately, because of that loyalty and because we love football so much here in Texas, it's so hard to convince people to not support the team.
Yeah.
It's what it's going to take in order to get through to Cal. And unfortunately, it's so hard for Roger Goodell to force a trade, because that's the only way to do it, is for Cal McNair to sell the team. And someone has to come out with him with a fantastic offer, like an offer they can't turn down, or Roger Goodell has to force a trade, and that's extremely hard to do. The owners hold so much power in the NFL, it's almost unfair. Like, you look at the NBA. The NBA is a players' league.
Definitely.
The players hold the power. The NFL, and you know what? And I kind of agree with Stephen A. when he says things like this. It's kind of on the players. Every time this comes up, they give away so many of their rights for extra extra money on the top. Instead of saying, we want long-term health care, we want some kind of say, we don't want get rid of the franchise tag and stuff like that. Like that's the main thing they should do, is get rid of the franchise tag. The franchise tag's one of the dumbest things that sports has.
Yeah.
But dumb owners will lead to, look at the Dallas Cowboys, always constantly.
I was just about to say, look at Dak Prescott with a franchise tag.
Yeah, man, it's ridiculous, and it just sucks, man. It seems like it's between Bieniemy and Leslie Frazier. Both guys I'd be okay getting, but then you're constantly hearing the Texans bring in what's his name, Jim Caldwell, which is I think would be a decent hire, but I would rather prefer him offensive coordinator, or Josh McCown. Again, I think he'd be a decent coach, but I would like to see him as an offensive coordinator. If you do not take Eric Bieniemy, that's the nail in the Deshaun Watson coffin, and that's to me that they have completely given up on Deshaun Watson. And I wouldn't be surprised if within the next couple of days we hear Deshaun Watson traded to Miami, Deshaun Watson traded to New York Jets, Deshaun Watson traded to somewhere. And then at that point, I'd have to take off my Texans hat and put on my analyst hat and start looking at, okay, is this trade worth it? Because that's the biggest reason why I didn't like the DeAndre Hopkins trade. I love DeAndre Hopkins, and I saw he was traded, and I was like, that sucks. But if we get a first out of it, cool.
Right. If we get an offensive tackle, maybe.
It was David Johnson. He was great for a year. Yeah, come on, man. And then you traded that second round pick for Brandon Cooks, who I love Brandon Cooks. But you traded that for Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Basically,
who's had injury history. David Johnson and Brandon Cooks both had injury history, and we traded away healthy DeAndre Hopkins for that.
DeAndre Hopkins probably missed maybe one game out of his career in Houston.
Yeah.
And we paired, and you basically said, in my eyes, you're saying David Johnson and Brandon Cooks are both better than DeAndre Hopkins. That's wrong.
Yeah, it's false every time.
Yeah, where's the Dwight meme? False. That's just false. That's not true, man. And then you put like you said, injured David Johnson and Brandon Cooks, even though thank God they were healthy this year, up with injured Will Fuller.
Yeah,
it makes sense. Well, it's crazy.
Yeah, the Texans are definitely the NFL circus right now.
Now I have a question.
Tell me, man.
Would you take Tua Tagovailoa, the third overall pick, and possibly the other first-round pick, or a first round in 2022 for Deshaun Watson?
I love Tua. I mean, I love most players coming out of Alabama because they're just a machine. If that's the trade that had to happen because Deshaun does not want to play here anymore, I would be okay with it. If I was a GM of the Texans, I would tell Deshaun, look, bro, I'm not planning to trade you. So if you don't show up, I understand. Take some time off. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I'm the new GM. You're still under contract for a long time. I'm gonna hire a great coach in Eric Bieniemy. I wish I could get Jack Easterby out the door, but I can't do that. But I'm gonna hire him. You think about it. If you still want to play with us, you come back and you play with us. I'm gonna work on getting you a better team. If I can get through that and he still doesn't want to play, I'll take the trade that you just offered.
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Kind of say and that's the thing that I really wanted to hear from Casario, and he did come out and talk about and talk directly about Deshaun and said Deshaun is in our plans. We want his input, and they did. I believe he sat down for the Bieniemy interview. He was in that. So, and you're right. You kind of want to say hey, I know. He could even come in and be like, I know that I wasn't your first choice. I understand that, but please give me an opportunity to prove you wrong. And if you don't agree with, you said if you could tell me right now that you don't agree or that you don't want to go with it, and we will do our best to get you where you want to be. And he's mentioned Miami, and I think Deshaun's the kind of guy that maybe he would. The problem is no cap space.
Right.
The first thing you have to do is you have to talk to JJ, try to get some kind of restructure, or possibly move JJ out the door. Because you still got to bring Will Fuller back. I would probably talk to Brandon Cooks and try to get him to restructure as well. He's making a lot of money. Just try to do that and get enough to where I don't know who's free agent this year in the wide receiver, but I know there is a lot of a decent top heavy in the draft in wide receivers. So if you could have those number one picks, that'd be great. I feel like you could move JJ for a first. There'd be someone dumb enough to take JJ for a first. Problem is finding that team.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not sure of their cap spaces, but I mean, you have the Steelers. JJ would love to play with his brothers.
Yeah.
The Packers, they would welcome him with open arms if he somehow were to be able to get to them. So, I mean, there's those two teams. Maybe you can work something out with them. JJ's definitely a Houston legend. He has all the respect in the world from the city of Houston, and he deserves to move on if that's what he wants. If he wants to stay, that'll be one of the most ultimate loyalty moves of all time.
Yeah.
But I think, speaking from a GM, I'm definitely looking to move JJ. I'm looking to invest back in the offense. And yeah, man, I want to get younger players around Deshaun, dude. I want to tell him, hey, you're the leader of this team now, and we're gonna get you receivers. And one thing that Texans have always neglected is the O-line. For whatever reason, we've just never had that O-line rolling. So, that's an area where I hope Alex Casario can, actually spend some time and actually draft some good guys there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think that's a best case plan with the Texans. What we're talking about, it's going to be hell.
It's most likely going to be what I said. It's going to be a trade, most likely.
Yeah.
To be honest. So first, to address your O line, you're absolutely right. The O line has always been one of our weaknesses. For some reason, we always have a great offensive tackle, Dwayne Brown. Now Laramie Tunsil. We give up a shitload to get to Laramie Tunsil, though.
Yeah.
We're kind of in the hole now.
More.
You're in the hole now because of getting Laramie Tunsil, which I think was a great get. But unfortunately, when the quarterback that you got Laramie Tunsil to protect doesn't want to stay there anymore, you're kind of stuck. But at the same time, we have Titus Howard. I believe in Titus Howard. I really do. Max Sharping is a guy that I believe in. We have to find a replacement for Nick Martin. God damn, we have to find a replacement for Nick Martin at the center. And you have to find a replacement for Zach Fulton on the left guard position, like in my opinion. But to me, the tackles are good. I like Titus. Titus just has to stay healthy. Laramie Tunsil's obviously a Pro Bowler at left tackle. It's just things like that. But I want to tell you something real quick. If you took that trade that I offered you, because right here I'm looking at this mock from NFL.com at the pick, which is our pick that we gave to the Dolphins. They have the Dolphins taking Jamar Chase. Which if you take Jamar Chase over Devontae Smith, I'm going to tear my hair out. A man that didn't play all this year, getting taken over a guy who just won the damn Heisman.
Come on.
But it is what it is. But where is he? At number 3, Penei Sewell from Oregon would be available at the third pick. Rashawn Slater, who are these offensive tackles that I've talked about, or you could possibly let Will Fuller go and drafted Jamar Chase, or if say you take a pick from someone who doesn't take him, there's the top four quarterbacks that are in the draft with Lawrence obviously going to Jacksonville without a doubt. A possibility that Justin Fields goes to New York. A possibility that Trey Lance goes to Zach Wilson or Trey Lance is going to go to Atlanta. And then I believe the next one would be Detroit, who they're probably going to take a quarterback at 7. So if you could jump into those top 7 picks, you have a possibility to take a quarterback.
Right.
I don't know. It's tough. You hate having to give up a top guy like Deshaun. Like we just did it hard. You're going to do it with Deshaun.
Yeah, and not to mention, just good quarterbacks are hard to come by in the league. The talent at that position has definitely gotten better, but there's only an elite number of guys. You know what I'm saying? And we're seeing it with the playoffs. You had Brady, you had Rodgers, and you had Josh Allen, which was a nice surprise. But you had Mahomes, and you kind of see the younger new guys, and then you see the older guys. Not to mention Drew Brees, made it pretty far. So yeah, man, I think. Right. It's a big risk, even with Tua is Tua's still not close to those guys. Like he's far from that. Deshaun's a bit closer, and that's the risk you take. And like we mentioned, like I said at the beginning, 28-year-old Harden versus 32-year-old Harden are two different things. And that's what you're risking with Deshaun Watson, kind of being moved away, at this early age. It would definitely hurt. Cool. So
yeah, man.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
The fact that no NFC teams have been like in talks to get Deshaun is insane. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, exactly, man.
The position's gonna be the NFC's gonna be for the taking like next year. Like Brady's gonna be Brady, obviously, but very big possibility that Drew Brees is gone. Very big possibility that Rodgers might hang it up or leave. You never know. I need you to go to your mom. Okay. Do that for me.
So speaking of, I want to get to a Super Bowl prediction.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, there's just one slight prediction that I want to give you props for because you predicted a knockout over the weekend, and we saw Conor McGregor become a meme all over the internet because he was downed by knockout. So props to that, and just maybe give us some thoughts of the fight.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was from the minute this fight was called, I was like, Poirier's gonna knock him out. Poirier, for those who don't follow the fight game, Poirier lost to McGregor a long time ago. Back before he won the lightweight championship, and Poirier was a different fighter, man. Like, he's a different fighter. He's been working on his craft. He went 3 rounds against Khabib. Obviously, Khabib is a whole another monster. He ended up smothering Poirier, but then he comes back. He has a great fight against Dan Hooker and beats Dan Hooker. Excuse me. Before that, he went 5 rounds with Max Holloway. Like, the dude can go off 5 rounds and look good off 5 rounds, and he's got concrete in his hands, man. Like, he's got legit stone. He's called Diamond Dustin Poirier. He's got diamonds in his hands, bro. Like, he hits hard, and I think the biggest part to me is you don't get better. And I'll give the props to Chael Sonnen for saying this. You don't get better at something by not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You get better by not practicing your craft, and you can spar all you want. It doesn't hold a candle to actually being in that octagon. And
right.
Before, obviously, he didn't fight last year except the Cerrone fight. Older Cerrone is nowhere near 32 prime Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
Prime anybody, really. Like, if he would have went up against the Gaethje, I think Gaethje could have knocked him out because Gaethje's a much better fighter in terms of IQ. And this fight came down to IQ. If you look at it, even though Conor was touching him in the first round, he was touching Poirier in the first round. Those leg kicks were getting to Conor. He didn't check. I think he might have checked one. He might have checked one kick out of like maybe 15, 16 kicks thrown at his legs. And I don't know if Aaron's still in the chat, but I know he would agree with me on this. Leg kicks are becoming a staple of the sport. You have to be able to throw leg kicks, and you have to be able to check leg kicks.
And, yeah.
They will be the death of you. They will be your demise, because you take out someone's legs, man. Like, what do they got left? Like, your leg is an important thing. And he was, and then he kept getting those legs. Those leg kicks were keeping him at bay. That's what those leg kicks were doing, is they were keeping Conor at bay. Conor was still landing that really nicely, a very nice stiff jab that he kept landing on Dustin. But every time Conor came forward, Dustin threw a leg kick, and it makes you think twice about going in. And dude, once Dustin felt that he also getting through the first round is also a big thing you got to do with Conor. Get through the first round, get past those first initial 2 minutes.
That flurry, yeah.
And that's once he realized, okay, I can handle his power. Let me go in there with my educated hands. It all comes down to IQ. And I was listening to the Fight Bananas podcast, and they were talking about it, and I mentioned the IQ, and they agree with me. Conor's kind of the same guy. Conor's been the same guy in his career. He's a great striker in terms of he's able to knock you out pretty quickly, especially if he can get into your head. Check out Jose Aldo. Got into Jose Aldo's head, knocked out probably the greatest featherweight of all time. But that's kind of, you get through those first rounds. Khabib, Nate the first time, and now Dustin. It's all about weathering that storm, that media storm that is Conor McGregor, and you stand a chance. Dustin Poirier made himself a star.
That's a good point. So, what's the fight that you want to see next? I mean, do you want to see the trilogy? Do you want to see Dustin and Conor go their own separate ways? As an MMA fan, what do you think would be best?
All right. So, first thing I'll say is, the minute this happened, I said, Conor better not ever say the word Khabib ever again. Conor has no right to say Khabib's name ever again. Like,
he keeps saying it.
Yeah, like, he's got to stop. Like, first of all, you badly against Khabib. Khabib literally, there was literally an interview where Khabib said he was begging me not to kill him when I was choking him, because that's how bad that blood got, and that's how bad Conor lost. Second of all, I don't want to see, because I think Connor's saying he wants the rematch for the lightweight title. Nope, you don't get that. You don't get the title. You can do a trilogy if you want to, but you don't get the title. Second, and to add on to that point, Dustin said he's the uncrowned champ. Like, to him, that was the fight for the not yet vacant, but hopefully soon to be vacant lightweight title. And Dustin said he's the champ, and I would tend to agree. For Dustin, though, a fight with Michael Chandler. Now, did you see Michael Chandler?
No, I haven't.
He was on the co-main. He's the champ. I think he was a 3-time champ in Bellator. Made the jump over here, was immediately touted as one of the biggest gets for the UFC because he was so great in Bellator. This is another one I kind of called that some people were kind of sleeping on Chandler, and I won't take the props on this one. This one I get to my partner was like, this dude Chandler's legit. Like, he can box, he's got power, and he's got stamina for days, and he's a wrestler. Like, that was the main thing, is his base is wrestling, and I tend to leave those fighters who their base is wrestling, because that's one of the hardest things to learn is wrestling.
Yeah,
it's so much out of you, and if you're not a wrestler at all and you go up against a guy who has a little bit of wrestling, you are going to have a hard time fighting. So I even think I was on something where like someone was like, how would you build your fighter? In the game, I don't build my fighter as a wrestler. In EA's UFC 3, I don't build my my fighter as a wrestler, but in real life I would, because that's such a necessity in the world of MMA. So he's that. He comes in here against Dan Hooker, the number 6 ranked lightweight, and he knocks him out in the first round. And like, beautiful knockout. And immediately goes and calls out the entire lightweight division. Says, told Khabib, if he's man enough, come get me. Like that. And I would love to see Dustin versus Chandler. Like, these two guys would put on a hell of a show. I'd probably lean towards Dustin just because I've seen more of Dustin, but Dustin has decent wrestling. But it'd be a great fight. That'd be a great like pay-per-view main event. And they're both around the same age. I believe Chandler's 34. He's 34, and this was his first fight in the UFC.
Wow.
Whereas Dustin Poirier is 32. So both guys in the midst of their prime. I would love to see them go. For Connor, I think at this point it's money. Get your money.
Definitely. That's all I care about.
Yeah, I mean, and go ahead for it. He's about to have a big lawsuit on his hands with the sexual assault that came out that a woman accused him of. Yikes. She did. So that's coming. Make your money while you can. That's all I can say. Yeah. If that means the trilogy versus Nate Diaz, if that means going back into boxing and fighting Manny Pacquiao, I don't know, man. But find the money. Maybe Jorge Masvidal would be a money fight. But you gotta do now. I don't think, unless he betters his fight IQ, I just don't see how he can compete with the top. The lightweight division is so stacked, dude. Like, it's so like, the only reason that there weren't more champions is because it was Khabib. Like, Khabib just was ahead. Like, was just one of those guys that dominated a division, and it's not like the division was crap. It's not like with John Jones where the division was kind of going away, and then you almost had newcomers, but then you took care of those. Like, these guys are all a possibility to be champs, and Khabib made them look like amateurs. Yeah, it's kind of like with Mena Nunes. Nunes is the same thing. It's just, you're just fighting. You might be a great fighter, but you just happen to be going against a goat. Like, the goat is the champion. About it.
Yeah, man, without a doubt.
But
so, dude, before we wrap up, tell me your thoughts on the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Who you like, and just anything you're looking out for in the game.
So first of all, congrats to Brady, as we mentioned, the first quarterback to take his team to host the Super Bowl. That's pretty awesome.
Definitely.
This one's tough, man. The defense in Tampa Bay has gotten so much better than they were in the beginning of this year.
For sure.
The pass rusher's there. JPP still killing it, like still getting it. Shaq Barrett is great. You're hoping. I mean, there's 2 weeks to go before the Super Bowl, so Antoine Winfield Jr. should be back. And those guys like that. But Carlton Davis seems like he has a chip on his shoulder. Kind of got called out during the game by Michael Thomas. And Michael Thomas, sorry man, you just lost to him. You don't get to talk. Maybe next year. But
no one on his team should talk.
Right.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs are a dynasty, man.
Right.
Like they have the possibility to be what we thought the Seattle Seahawks were going to be. This team is probably going to be that. Multiple Super Bowl appearances, multiple Super Bowls. I hate talking about him because I don't like him as a person, but Tyreek Hill is a top-tier receiver in the league. Travis Kelce, top 2 tight end in the league between him and Kittle. Let's see. You have a defense with Chris Jones, Honey Badger there. It's just and not even just Tyreek Hill, but you also got Mecole Hardman, Sammy Watkins. I feel like I'm forgetting. There's so much talent on that team. And Patrick Mahomes. Like the guy that I thought was kind of all style, like wasn't going to be able to hack it in this league, has proved me wrong years after years. I'm no longer saying – I remember seeing him do the things he was doing in his rookie year and saying – or not rookie year, but the year his first year starting and saying like this kid's going to get blown up one of these days doing this stuff and throwing sidearm passes or jump passes. And it's like he's eventually gonna end up ruining his team, and he does it. Like each time he pulls it out.
Right.
And I don't know, man. I don't see anybody beating this guy. He's just I think this is going to be the passing of the guard. This is the veteran Tom Brady going up against the up and comer, not even up and comer, but up in here, like the young guy who's kind of the best player in the league right now, and just kind of taking that gauntlet and saying like, all right, you had your time, it's our time now, and possibly next year maybe seeing a younger guy, well, who's in the damn NFC that's young? All the NFC are older now. I guess Russell Wilson. Yeah. Even he's like a veteran in the eyes of some of these kids, like a Lamar or Josh Allen, So I don't know. It's hard to go against this team, man. And
you're right.
Defense, you're just like what you would do mostly is like blitz the quarterback, get to the QB. But Patrick Mahomes is one of the best throwers in the football when he's blitzed. Like, what do you do?
Exactly, man. I think also looks like we have a comment before we get to that. All right, let's go ahead and throw that up before I make mine. Sure. On topic of hosting the Super Bowl at home, what do y'all think that looks like in the current climate? Any word yet on the capacity restrictions? How does that change the dynamic?
Look at that.
Okay, so sweet. One thing I want to say is I love the fact that the Buccaneers have the Super Bowl at home. If there's any way to get any slight advantage, it helps to be at home, even though there's no fans, which would have been cool. But I have to say that any advantage you can get would help. Second is they are in Florida. So Florida is just as crazy as Texas. There's going to be as many fans as possible in there, despite COVID restrictions.
I got it right here. I got it right here.
Tell me.
So by way of sportingnews.com, fans will be allowed at the Super Bowl. The exact number of fans will come out to about 22,000. And the NFL has 7,500 vaccinated healthcare workers to the Super Bowl for free.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Healthcare worker, why don't you try and get one of these tickets, guys?
Shout out to all the healthcare workers.
Yes.
Might as well pull up. Might as well see Brady versus Mahomes. Ultimately, I think the Chiefs are going to win again. Like you mentioned, I like the comparison of the Gronk and Brady and the Kelce and Mahomes. Gronk and Brady are the GOATs at their positions, but we are seeing the passing. I mean, you got prime Kelce and prime Mahomes, and these guys are motivated. Mahomes had that slow first half in his first Super Bowl, and I think he's going to come out and he's going to be a lot more confident. He's going to get the ball rolling. I think if you're a Bucs fan, there's home field advantage. The Chiefs starting left tackle is out. And the third thing is you have Tom Brady. So you kind of have to hope for the perfect storm with those three things. Maybe you get some sacks. Maybe your home energy causes some turnovers. Maybe those healthcare workers are screaming. And the third thing is, if it's a close game, then you hope you count on Brady being the GOAT and closing it out in the 2 minutes. I would love to see it. I just can't pick on it. If I was a betting man, I can't pick that to happen.
Yeah, man. And in terms of keeping it close, Mahomes has shown that he's got the clutch gene. Like, he really does. Like, last year he was down by 10. Down by 10 to Jimmy Garoppolo. And Jimmy Garoppolo is maybe an inch away from winning that Super Bowl because of that missed pass to Emmanuel Sanders. Like, it's just and then Patrick Mahomes gets the ball and he's just magic.
Right.
It makes sense. And in terms of home field advantage, we've seen Patrick Mahomes go to every stadium basically and just wreck shop and dominate.
Yeah.
And dude, I don't know where this kid came from. This kid was at Texas Tech, and you said it's prime Kelsey, which I agree, and prime Mahomes. I don't know if it is prime Mahomes.
It might not even be yet.
That's the scary part. That's why it's like, we might be looking at the next Patriots dynasty, honestly.
He might have like a 10-year prime the way he's playing.
I mean, he better with that 10-year contract he signed. But I'm gonna go ahead and go Mahomes. I'll go. I think Brady's gonna have one more opportunity. I don't think Brady retires after this year.
Right.
So I think we'll have one more shot. What a way to say F you to Bill Belichick.
Robert Kraft. The list goes on.
Yeah, like going to your Super Bowl in your first year in Tampa. They weren't even a playoff team last year.
Definitely. It's an accomplishment that should be respected. All the respect in the world to Tom. I'd love to see it. Good luck, man.
Yeah, it's his 10th Super Bowl, guys.
10.
And he's won. Well, this is his 10th one that he's going to. He's been in 9, won 6. He's the opposite of LeBron, whereas LeBron was been to 9, won 3. Tom Brady's been in 9, won 6 of them, and probably should have won maybe 8 of them.
Yeah.
The helmet catch against the Giants, and then the just catch that I don't remember who made it, but it was also the Giants game, the second Giants game.
Oh, yeah, the second time. Yeah, dude, Eli Manning was just a thorn in his side. Even though Eli was not even close as great as Tom Brady, for some reason, Eli just showed up and handled business.
Everybody's got their kryptonite, bro. Everybody's got their kryptonite. I'll just say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Except Mahomes, apparently. I don't know. Mahomes don't have one. Oh, the Raiders, I guess. The Raiders is the only team that lost to them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Maybe the Raiders need to make it to the playoffs next year. How about that?
Yeah, exactly.
But all right, man. Let's go ahead and take it out.
Let's take it out. I just want to shout out to everyone who did come in the stream. Corey Miller, Aaron Brooks, R. Reyes. I think that might be Robert Reyes. And appreciate you guys joining. I'm sure there might have been some other ones. But, yeah. Man, I can't wait to keep this rolling. I had a lot of fun, and I appreciate you too, bro. Alec, thanks for your time, man.
Thank you for making this with me, man. I really appreciate it. I love talking sports with you for an hour. We've gone almost an hour and 20 minutes.
Sweet.
Next week, we will see what happens, man. This is going to be a lot more Rockets talk, I'm assuming, because we will actually be able to have time to sit down and watch the Rockets games. For sure. That's kind of why this was like kind of the shoot the shit. But I also don't ever want to like go away from talking about the biggest parts of sports. We got to, talk about those things. But can't wait to get into this next week with you. Mondays, guys. Every Monday, we're going to shoot for 7, maybe 7:30 Central every week. Excuse me. And just come ready to talk some sports, guys. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
So go ahead and I want you to go ahead and plug your stuff, bro. Plug your stuff, and then I'll plug, and then we'll head out.
Sweet, man. The biggest thing I would plug right now is I got shirts for sale. Leonard's Mirror. I'm actually running out. I only got two, so I got one blue, one tan shirt. But Leonard's Mirrors is a company I made. It's dedicated to my pops. Who left this world in 2010. So it's already been 10 years, and the reason, and I remember you were there too, Alec. And the reason I made these shirts is I made this company, and I haven't exactly found out the way I want to give back in memory of my pops, but I decided, it's important to create something, man. And that's why I made the shirts, because there's a lot of creators out there, whether you're an artist or you're just trying to create opportunities for you and your family. I just wanted to have a shirt that looks good, that felt good, and could be, perfect for somebody in a similar position as me. So please do that. And the last thing would just be, follow the Instagram at PL Trinidad, like you see here on the screen. Be happy to chop it up with all you guys on anything Rockets. Over to you.
Guys. And you can find me on Twitter. That's normally where I'm at Alec Miller 0423. Catch me there talking, bitching about sports, movies and stuff. You can go to, I have a TikTok. You can go find my anime reviews at Alex Anime Reviews on TikTok. You can drop your recommendations, maybe watch along with me. That'd be cool. And every Wednesday, the ANS podcast, Armbars and Suplexes podcast, that I do with my man Jesus. And this week we will be diving deep in depth about this card that just happened this past night, and looking forward to the upcoming cards. We have a pay-per-view in, I believe, 3 weeks. So get ready for that. And I'm looking forward to this journey that we take together with this podcast. Let's go ahead and dedicate this episode, this inaugural episode, to your pops and to our friend Joel. We know that they're watching over us, cheering us on this journey that we're taking. So I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone that's taking this journey with us, and big love to your pops and Joel, man.
Amen to that, brother. Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll be back next week, guys. Peace out.